The channel's closing in on 40,000 subscribers and 10 million views right around the same time. So if we haven't quite hit that yet, thanks regardless for all of the support. As the end of the year gets nearer and nearer, some of you might be wondering whether a Christmas miracle, or whatever else you want to call it, might happen for console Terrarians who are still languishing in Terraria 1.3, waiting on Terraria 1.4. Well, I don't have an answer for you, but I did stumble across some online musings by Relogic's Loki, who discussed the ongoing development of console and mobile Terraria on the official Discord this week. FBI wrote, "Any news for 1.4 console?" Straight and to the point. Loki answered with, "Not at the moment. I'm eagerly awaiting to see what DR Studios will do, with the focus now being on consoles, just like everyone else." Drifty added in, "I'm going to add on to what Loki said. Senex said possibly any time between November and early 2021. Just what I know anyways. Loki knows a whole lot more than really any of us do." Senex, by the way, is the vice president of Relogic, in case you didn't know. And Loki responded further with, "I know more than I can say, but I will honestly and wholly say that there is no date. I don't even have a date. And I'll have a better sense on progress as we go forward. I know what all there is to do, and it's a lot more than folks assume, especially with the goal being not just to add content, but to try and improve the overall experience, whilst attempting to support some measure of legacy stuff for those that prefer." So it sounds like they're really trying to keep a high level of polish, throw in some quality of life improvements for console ports, all at the same time as keeping some legacy options in place. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but sounds like it will involve a lot of tinkering, testing things out, that sort of thing. Later on, in a response to a back and forth between the Terrarian and Moog7776, Loki wrote, "Console 1.4 work did not begin before 1.4 was released on PC, and that doesn't even make any sense. So let's just nip that rumor in the bud right here." Minequaff Steve in Terraria, and yes, I do feel rather silly reading that name out loud, asked, "When, Relogic?" And Loki's answer was, "Don't have a date to give you yet, just correcting bad information. I'm personally excited to see what DR does now that they are focusing a lot of time on console with mobile 1.4 out the door. I never underestimate them, but I also know they are vigilant on quality, so I don't want to make predictions either." The Terrarian was back with the question, do they have permission to change 1.4 for console? Good question, and Loki answered with, "They are free to make design suggestions, etc. for sure, just like they did on mobile. They will not be adding content though, if that's what you mean. Relogic worked closely with them on mobile. We will do the same here, but we are in that odd phase where they are hitting it hardcore and we don't have calls to make just yet. I mean, I do have an updated playable on my Xbox and Switch kits, but there is still much to be done to get this right and to do right by it. The goal being not just to add content, but to improve the overall experience, spend more time in optimizations, etc., for example." Moog7776 was also back with, "By hitting it hardcore, do you mean they have hit some sort of roadblock?" Loki answered that also with, "No, I mean that as in the state of the game," referring to his recent State of the Game post for October, where he explained that once mobile was out and hotfix is more or less done, they being DR Studios, would be focused on console as the primary and any additional mobile fixes as the secondary, so inverting the focus. So they got it running in the first phase, and now we are in a phase where their focus is on console. Mobile has already had a hotfix pushed out by DR Studios. It only took them a week or two, so if things are on the back burner for mobile at the moment, they've at least had some bug fixes for the mobile version that have been addressed. And also, even things that weren't fixed had some workarounds provided. If you do want to learn more about that recent hotfix, I will include a link in the video description below to a video I recently made covering it. Loki was still on, and he also wrote, "And having been along for the ride on mobile, I'm eagerly awaiting to see what they do. First time I saw their vertical hotbar on mobile, which at the time I was like, what? And now I actually prefer. There are all sorts of ideas and experiments that they do. Some make it to me, some don't. They are not afraid to try things and fail in order to find the right things. That takes time, but leads to a better end product, even for a port such as this. The Switch has more options being a hybrid console, so who knows what they can do with that. As far as the PS4 and Xbox One go, well, they don't have some of the Switch features, but on the other hand, they're more powerful from a hardware perspective, so I'm not really sure what they'll try. Moog7776 was back with, and one thing that you don't have to answer or anything, but are they working on keyboard mouse support for console? Loki answered that with, not a focused on the core game stuff, but it would be a nice little cherry on top someday, maybe. Oh, that would be good. Moog also asked, just as long as it isn't too buggy. And the reply to that was, that's the idea, right? Along that road, spend more time in optimizations, etc. I hope they bring the wide array of settings options from mobile over to console. The settings and things you can tweak on mobile are crazy. Who doesn't love settings? Anyway, that's it for now. Not much news at the moment, in case you couldn't tell. Just thought I'd post these musings from Loki. They're not really news so much as just some maybe kind of tangential insights into the development at the moment. Obviously, Relogic isn't developing for console or mobile, it's DR Studios, and they are diving for their part right into the console work right now, and I'm sure they're going to be buried in that with all three consoles to work on. They're going to be busy for some time. It sounds like even Loki's just kind of sitting around and waiting to see how they get on with these three platforms. So fingers crossed they do a good job on it and speed things along just like they did for mobile. While an earlier release would be nice, I'd imagine that they'll wait some time for these tweaks to be just quite right where they want them before they push 1.4 out the door. So will it happen before the end of the year? Sometime early in 2021? Who can say at this point, but maybe the November State of the Game later this month will shed some light on that, because by then they'll have had some time working on the consoles and they might have a better idea. So who knows? Anyway, we'll wait and see. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.